Welcome back to another episode of Learned with Luna. Today we're going to go over the difference between a 1 to 3 anti-spin versus a 1 to 1 anti-spin. In previous videos, we've primarily worked on 1 to 3 anti-spins like you're seeing now. But the fun thing about fans is not only can you anti-spin in 1 to 3, but you can also anti-spin in 1 to 1. You have your 1 to 1 vertical anti-spins, as well as your 1 to 1 horizontal anti-spins. I dictate this by whether or not your wicks are pointing off to the sides for horizontal or top and bottom for vertical. So the reason it's called a 1 to 3 flower is because there are 3 quarter rotations for every 1 anti-spin. This is primarily done with poi, as you'll see now demonstrated going both counterclockwise and clockwise direction. Now demonstrating that with our typical 4-petal anti-spin flower with fans, you can see how each prop has to go through 3 different quarter rotations before reaching each anti-spin point. Here are different variations of flowers that you can do, all with using a 3 to 1 rotation using both a fan and a poi. Moving on to a 1 to 1 anti-spin, this is where for each 4 point, your fan is only moving 1/4 of a rotation. I feel like the 1 to 1 is most easily seen with a staff. You can see that middle point that's at the bottom doesn't ever fully leave being in the middle. It goes from pointing down to the side, to the top, to the side, and back down. Now doing a double staff side by side with a fan, this is going to be your vertical 1 to 1 anti-spin with a fan. And then you have your horizontal 1 to 1 anti-spin with a fan as well. Now moving on to the motions of a vertical 1 to 1 anti-spin, your wicks are going to start facing the bottom and they're going to stay towards the middle when they're on the sides, creating this diamond shaped pattern. Just like 1 to 3 anti-spins, you can do this going both clockwise and counterclockwise. Now finally, moving on to a horizontal 1 to 1 anti-spin. I usually start at the bottom with my wicks facing up, and your wicks are going to point out to the sides when they're on your left or right side, and it's going to be facing up or down towards the middle when you're on your top or bottom point. If you've been here for a while, you know I always recommend doing each movement with both hands going both directions. So switch to your non-dominant hand and let's work on those 1 to 1s doing vertical as well as horizontal both directions. Just as a final demonstration, this is the difference between a 1 to 3 anti-spin flower with a fan versus a 1 to 1 anti-spin flower with a fan vertically. And finally, you have a 1 to 1 anti-spin flower with a fan horizontally.